In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an update to a form in the MnSHIP application. I'm already logged into the application, so I'm going to go to my dashboard. First, let's talk about when you need to update a form. You need to do an update to a form when there's substantial changes to the existing documentation. So this would include things like maybe the property has had some sort of major physical alteration to it, or there has not been inventoried in a number of years and needs a full update, or there's been a lot of new research that has added information about the property. For things where there's minor changes to the existing documentation, like maybe there's a bad location or additional documents that might be associated with an existing form or database errors, those can be handled through a direct edit that SHPO staff can do to the record in the application. So if you have an instance where that might be the case, contact the SHPO administrator and they can walk you through whether that should be an update, which you would do, or if that'll be a direct edit, which SHPO will do. The first thing you need to do when you're doing an update is to identify the inventory form that you're going to update. There's two ways to do that. One way would be to open up the private map, navigate to the location of the property, and open the form in the private map. The other way is to go to the research records, navigate to a form, open it up, and now I'm at the page where I have the form open. If I did the map route, I would have arrived at this exact same page. Okay, so now to update, all you need to do is go up here to this options and click update. When you do this, this warning will come up and ask you if you do want to continue to update, and I do. And now it opens up a form that is very, very similar to the form that you see when you're adding a brand new property. The only differences are that the geometry pre-populates with the previous version, and all the database values pre-populate as well. The only things that don't pre-populate are the attachments, the preparer name, and the date of the fieldwork. Everything else pre-populates. So now you would need to do is go and determine whether the geometry that was there previously is the appropriate geometry. If it isn't, you can get rid of the old and then add new, just like was shown in the adding property to MnSHIP part 1. And then just go through all of these database fields to make sure that they are entered correctly. Be sure to upload any attachments and add the preparer name, which is here, and the date of fieldwork, and then you would save it. So once you've saved it the first time, then you can go and at this point, now once you save it the first time, then you can go and you can add an attachment or update the thumbnail. You have to save it first before you can do those steps. So now once you save this draft, if you want to come back to it later on, you can go back to the Manage Forms, and it's there in the Manage Forms. So if you want to edit it down, and I'm ready to do some more work on it, I'll open it back up and do some more edits. Now, since I'm updating this property, no one else in the system is able to update it. So there's only one update draft allowed per property. So meaning that until this gets accepted or deleted, no one else will be able to update this. So if you're doing an update, it's important to not sit on it too long, because you'd like to make it available to other people if they need to add to it as well. Additionally, the only properties that you can update in the application are the most recent version. So if you have a property where there was an original and then there was an update and then a second update, if you were going to update again, you could only update that second update. You wouldn't be able to go back and update the original. So you can only update the most recent version. So once you have filled out all the database fields and added the attachments and verified that that geometry looks good, you can submit it to SHPO for the QA/QC review. And then the steps that would be then followed would be exactly the same steps that we talked about in the adding a property MnSHIP part 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and save the draft. I'm gonna go back to my Manage Forms here and just wanted to show one other thing. Since this is an update, the draft update status, the workflow status is draft update. So I'm gonna go ahead and submit this, and then we'll talk a little bit about the inventory number changes. So you'll notice right now, this is my inventory number. Now, when I submit, oops, I forgot to click that. Now when I push submit, it's now been submitted. And when you go back to my Manage Forms, you'll notice that the inventory number is still the same that it was when I initially showed you, but watch what happens once it gets accepted. So I'm gonna log out and then log back in as SHPO staff. So now I'm going to have pretend that I'm a SHPO staff member. So I'm gonna open up my workflow here. Here's that form that I just turned in as a submitter. I will now go to the SHPO review fields, and this is exactly what was shown on the adding a property part 3, and I will update the status to accepted. Okay, so now that I've accepted this, this property instantly gets added to the private and public map, as well as the research records and the SHPO research records. Let's go take a look at it in the research records now. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Here's the original. This is what I had been updating. You'll notice that it's just the simple inventory number with nothing else appended to it. You'll also see over here that the most recent version flag says that no, this is not the most recent version. Now the update I just did has the inventory number, but then the date and time is appended to it at the end. So this is the update that I just did. You'll also see that the most recent version for this says that, yes, it's the most recent version. So that would be another check for you to do when you're wanting to do an update. You would maybe search for an inventory number and then put on the research forms and then put this search so you only see the most recent versions, and then you know you're getting the most recent one. So that is how you update an inventory form.